You! I'm gonna take you to the Cubrar! I'm gonna take you to the Cubrar! Gonna take you to the Cubrar! 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 Let's do this, eh? Welcome to this week's edition of Transformer of the Week, where of course I'm going to be looking at Fansproject's Lost Exo-Realm LER-02 Cubrar. This is the box it came in. It's nowhere near as big as the massive box that Columpio came in, but it's still quite formidable. It's got a nice flap there, so if you did leave him in the box, you could have a look at him through his window. But don't keep them in boxes, do you really? Yeah, so it's Slag, really. This is the great Dinobot wars of the third parties. I'm siding with Fansproject at the moment. I just kind of like the build of them and the little partners they come with. I think it's quite cool. I don't really after a masterpiece size one, so this is like a nice Voyager Plus size, you know, XL Voyager, Voyager XL, whatever the size they are. But yeah, so it's a nice box. It's just a shame that it's not going to fit in now with Columpio's box because, you know, the different sizes. I think in Columpio's box you had that bit. Cubrar's hand was showing, so if he was in the same size box, they would have linked together. But they don't. So anyway, that's the box. Onto the toy. Isn't he just a glorious Triceratops? It's got this lovely gold and silver, and one of the first things that got me about this is just look at the guy liner. This guy is rocking. Can you see that? Yeah, it's very Egyptian. So even though, you know, they didn't have dinosaurs in Egypt, it still kind of adds that kind of prehistory sort of like aesthetic about it. I really like that, and it's just a lovely head. It's got a lovely head. So it moves onto this nice, very shiny, chromy armour plate, and then onto all these, a couple of different tones of metal and some silver around these rims here. Nice little bits of paint details just to break it up a little bit. Onto the lovely gold again, ending in a red rocket. Red rocket. When I first saw pictures of this, I wasn't really that keen on the red tail stuff, but getting it in person, it does add a certain symmetry for, you know, for the reds and the horns to the red and the tail. It kind of just really works. In terms of articulation, his head is on a ball joint. Unfortunately, the neck frill isn't attached to the head, so that doesn't move with it. But if it did, it would have limited the articulation a lot. So his head is on a ball joint, so you can get a lot of emotive on there. But he's also got a neck that is also on a ball joint, so it's like quite a double jointed thing going on. His mouth can open and close, and he does have a gun in there, a little flamethrower for shooting out flames, obviously, and that's kind of on a ball joint. It's very restricted, it's very tight. You can just about move it to the side there, so it's like a little tongue lolling out the side of his mouth, which is quite cool. I mean, he is, even though he's a big chunky thing, there is something just really just adorable about this Slag. Oh, he's just got, I think he borrows a lot, or uses very much from some of the Transformers animated, really, to me, more than the G1, but in this mode. But yeah, he's just absolutely lovely. So yeah, anyway, carrying on with the articulation. Yeah, so he's got a ball joint on his front legs. They also have a swivel there, and they can go up and down there. Similar ball joint on the back legs. They've no swivel, but they've got about, you know, that can move there. It's very tight. That can move, and his toes are also on a ball joint. So he's got a lot of articulation there. And he's got all these different ball jointed sections to his tail, so he's got a very waggly tail as our Slag. Yeah, so that is him all in all, but that's not all. He does come with a little partner. I believe it is called Tekour. I'm never going to remember Tekour. I do like to give these guys, these battle masters, as I'm calling them, their own little names, and for this guy, because it fits in with a Dinobot naming convention as well, I've taken to naming him Shagger. I think Shagger really like Slag and Shagger, he's just a brilliant team up pairing. His name really for the chieftain of the Stone Crows in Game of Thrones. And if you know anything about Shagger, chieftain of the Stone Crows in Game of Thrones, you'll know that Shagger likes axes. And true to form, he has these two massive battle axes that he wields. Dual wielding axes is what Shagger does best. So yeah, we can open, if we can get these bits here, and we can flip these round. So unlike Sludge's, not the movie, unlike Sludge's Dino Rider, Shagger don't bother. Shagger don't sit down. Shagger stands proudly on the back there, so it's a bit wobbly, but anyway, we'll get to some of the other accessories. It comes with two blasters, so these are brilliant. These look very much like his G1 gun, but good. And it comes with this sword. So yeah, we can actually proper arm him up. He's got lots of little peg holes to put these in. I mean, these are a bit limited in dinosaur mode. Good in robot mode, we'll come to it in a bit. So yeah, we can plug his sword in here on the leg, and he's also got a couple of peg holes here on the tail, so we can actually make him dangerous from the front and behind. Yeah, how awesome is that? So yeah, and then Shagger can be riding up there proudly. I'll just have a quick look. This is my very battered G1 Slag that I've had since childhood, so I think they're a very good pairing, really. And this guy is always going to be close to my heart, but this guy is just, he's amazing. He is. That's an expression right there of how much I like him. Yeah, so let's transform him, shall we? It is it's a lot more involved than the Clumpio's transformation, and there's a lot of panels, so I think it's scary at times. So anyway, we just flip his legs up like that, we can just flip them up like that, and then we can start unpegging various flaps to get a bit more movement in him. So we then open him up there and unpeg these bits over here. There we go. Okay. See, sometimes it's like you're flipping things and you're like going, oh, that's as far as it goes. And that's not as far as it's going. It's just that's as far as you think it goes, you know, for your own sanity. But then if you do push it a little bit further, it will go further. But you know, a toy at this price range, it's kind of like, do I really want to push this? Is this going to break it? And it's like, no, you actually have to push it that far. But you do have that fear of sort of like going, uh-oh, I'm going to break my expensive toy. So you get his legs like that, and then you kind of have to manoeuvre these legs around, because it's like a double hinge there. So you need to make sure that the right bits of the hinge are flipping over, otherwise it will not go all the way in. Okay, so that goes like that. Is that all the way? That is all the way in. And then these flip down, and the toes flip around, and this flips back to the side there, and that pegs in. And that is one leg. I love his little toes. More on that later. So yeah. Then we'll do the same to the other side. So it's the double hinge, flip that in. See, that time it hasn't gone on the right peg of the hinge, so flip that in, move that round. It's very... Columpio was quite floppy in places, and I found that Slag is the opposite. It's got some very tight bits. So anyway, and that's his lower half pretty much transformed. So there's his nice robot legs. Moving on to this, so we can explode his collar outwards, and then we have move these out of the way. Then he's back here. I find this quite scary because these back plates and this collar tend to have a lot of banging up against each other while you're transforming it, and it's kind of moving past each other. Like you just have to just scrape them past each other, really. So that's like that. Just bend the plastic in here, which again is a little bit frightening. So yeah, then we pull his chest out like that, and we move this bit upwards. So we move that up and peg that in. Then we move these arm bits around like so. You don't really peg in anywhere, you just have to trust the ratchets just to hold them in their place. And then we get hold of his arms, flip that bit up, flip back that bit down, his wrists pop out, fists even. I suppose he does have wrists on his fists, or fists on his wrists, or something. Anyway, so do that again. And we're pretty much almost done. We bring up his tail. Again, his tail's on a stiff ratchet. Didn't know how far it went at first, and they peg into his back kibble eventually. So we just get this tail, and they peg in these bits. These pegs go in where I put the guns in dinosaur mode. Okay. Here we go. That's we're wrestling with our expensive toys. So that's pretty much done. Then he's got his head thing here. He does have. You can just have him with his dinosaur head. Ace Attorney, Triceratops, dun dun dun. Or if you actually want to be a bit more conventional, you can flip this down here, and that bit there should peg in there. But there's a lot of moving around until you find the right angle for it to move into. So just excuse me for a second while I do that. It's involved. It's quite thirsty work, this transformation. Anyway. So yeah, we need to lower that down and find the right place for it to peg into. Come on. Don't make me a liar on camera. 1 second. It's a lot of just getting the right alignment here, and it's pegged in. So we just flip that up, or you can having a less compensating than Lockdown's gun face. You can flip that up there into the back, and then we have Slag in his robot mode. Isn't he just an awesome? He's just a beefy, awesome guy. I love it. Absolutely love it. Like I say, it's a bit more involving the Columpio's transformation. I thought I wasn't going to make it, especially when you film it on camera. But yeah, he's got again lovely blue eyes. I like how it's not in a photo or so, but they've added some nice little blue metallic details onto his chest, so that just about makes him similar to what Columbio has. So they are part of this. This is that our third party Dinobots with nice bits of blue metallic in the chests, little tiny suggestions of making a team. So that's him there. Let's get this guy transformed. Well, on a roll. So yeah, so if we get Shagger's axes away and we move this up, you can actually wear this. You can wear this as a battle helmet. It's very hard going over the top of his head there, but you can just swing it around again. And that bit there is very sharp. That's what you notice really about some of the third party stuff. Whereas now Hasbro will give us that rubber, soft rubber now on the sharpy bits. On your third party toys, no, you could do some serious, especially with Slag's head there, you could do some serious damage with them horns, I tell you. So yeah, that is how we're transforming now. So pretty much getting into that mode there. So I mean, you could wield that as just a big block and do some hefty damage to it, but no, we actually have to clip these axe heads to make clip that together. This axe, my word, look at that, is a chopper. That is a chop. This is probably my favourite Transformers weapon. pretty much of all time, that is my favourite Transformer weapon I've ever seen. The fact that he's, well, I term a battle master, so he's a robot as well. That is just amazing. I love how they do the dinosaur heads on the pommels of these weapons. I think that's fantastic. So yeah, you can grip this, obviously. So got some nice open hands there, so you can get that in his hand and he can rock and roll. Look at that. Look at that. That is just a meaty weapon. Yeah, articulation. So these are his front legs in dinosaur mode, so he's got the same type of thing going on. So he's got a ball joint there, got a lot of range of movement in. Got an ab. Not an ab, what am I talking about? Bicep. He's got a bicep twist there. He's got a nice elbow. And he's got a wrist swivel. So yeah, he's got very good articulation there. And the same with the other arm. Now, you don't need the waist swivel transformation. He has been given a waist swivel, and then his tail pegs in there, so it then blocks the waist swivel off. So it's kind of like, why have you given us that waist swivel? Because it's not needed in transformation, and then you block it off in robot mode. But it's very much easier to just unpeg his tail, and because it's on quite a strong ratchet anyway, it will just hang about there. So you can just move out of the way, and then you can have a bit of swivel. But he's got the mushroom peg on this. He's got a very loose, it's a very loose waist swivel. So it's best, if you want to put some poses in there, have a play around with him. But if you want to just store him up, it's pretty much better to just plug the tail in. It's got some nice range of movement from the hips, and then swivels. Then he's got double jointed clickety clackety ratchets for his knees, and then he's got a toe swivel. I just love these. I love these legs. These legs are just absolutely just gorgeous. And that is pretty much Slag. You can obviously hold his weapons, so he's got two pegs there, and obviously the hand, and he's also got some weapon storage back here, some peg holes. So I do quite like having his sword that way as a big, you know, eat that movie Prime, look at my sword hand. And then we'll give him his blaster in that hand. He holds them quite well. He holds his weapons a lot better than Columpio does. I mean, I love these blasters as well. It's a lot of love. There's a lot of love for this toy. And we'll move that around a bit. He also comes peg on there. So look at that. He's now just fully armed and operational, ready to rumble. Then, if we want a full-on battle mode, let's give him his gun face as well. But yeah, I think niggling things, there's just something I just don't quite like about his lips, his top lips. Sometimes, if you look at it, some angles, it kind of upsets me, his top lip. But other than that, he's just absolutely glorious. He's absolutely glorious, and he almost lives up to my ridiculously high expectations of what I expect from a Slag figure. Yeah, so if we just I'll just have a quick transform of this guy. See, got the G1 ones transform a lot quicker. So yeah, we can see him side by side. Oh, this has made me very happy. This has made me a very happy person. So I think if you're in doubts about picking stuff up, I would highly recommend picking up this guy. Like I say, the other third-party things do look nice, but I'm not really after masterpiece sized figures, and I don't really care for the Dinobots, you know, combining into a big Dino King. But I do like having additional weapon dudes, and I think having Slag and Shagger is just brilliant. So yeah, I do heartily recommend Fansproject Cubrar and Tekour. Yeah, pick them up, buy them, enjoy them. Yeah, this has been a long review, so thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all of the good stuff in the doobly doos below. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.